This is KGW News at 11.
We begin tonight with Portland's gun violence. Police are investigating 2 shootings as well as a deadly crash, all in deep southeast. Thanks for joining us. I'm Blair Best. The crash happened late Saturday night in the Mill Park neighborhood. One of the drivers involved had been shot at some point. And just a few hours ago, there was a deadly shooting in the Centennial neighborhood. Here's what we know so far. It was another violent weekend in the Rose City. Just after 10 p.m. Saturday, Portland police responded to this rollover crash at the intersection of Southeast 102nd Avenue and Washington Street, between a bank and a gas station. 2 cars crashed. Police say one of the drivers had been shot, and a passenger had serious life-threatening injuries. Despite officers giving CPR on scene, that passenger died at the hospital. The person who was shot was also taken to the hospital and is still recovering. At this time, police believe the shooting happened before the crash. No arrests have been made. This is the 34th fatal crash in Portland this year and the 6th in just the last 16 days. Then, early Sunday evening, just before 4:30, Portland police responded to a shooting on Southeast 174th Avenue. A man had died by the time officers arrived. No arrests have been made in this case either, but Portland's homicide detectives are investigating. And we're expecting more details from Portland police on all of these cases to be released soon. Meanwhile, if you have any information, you're asked to give them a call. Well, now to an update on wildfires in Oregon. Evacuation orders remain surrounding the Boulder fire. It broke out yesterday, southeast of Mount Hood, near the Boulder Lake trailhead. The latest estimate puts it at about 100 acres. Nearby campgrounds and recreational areas were evacuated yesterday. The fire is burning in a heavily forested area on steep slopes. And the Tunnel 5 fire on the Washington side of the Columbia River in the Gorge is now 80% contained. It burned more than 500 acres in the past week near White Salmon. As firefighters make progress, evacuation orders in the area have been downgraded. They're now at level 1, which means people in the area should be ready to go if needed, but they don't have to leave just yet. Well, let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri. And Joe, what type of conditions are these fire crews facing out there? Well,
they're going to be facing some steep terrain, like you just said, and also very windy conditions over the next couple of days. Near the mountain, near Government Camp, you're going to be seeing gusts peaking up anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles an hour throughout tomorrow afternoon, especially the farther away you get into parts of the Columbia River Gorge. Because of that, the breezy and dry conditions, fire weather warning is in place now until late tomorrow, right around 8 o'clock throughout a good portion of along I-84 there, basically from the Dalles east all the way into parts of Pendleton along I-84. And temperatures are going to gradually warm up over the next couple of days. Now, we're not going to be impacted by the smoke from that wildfire, but as you can see, we'll put this into motion. If you're going to be spending any time basically east of Government Camp, east of Mount Hood over the next day or so, you will be seeing anywhere from thick to some light smoke. So if you're going to be spending any time camping, be aware of that. It will be in the air over the next couple of days. And the other thing we're tracking are the thunderstorms that still potentially could be popping up here over the next couple of hours and into tomorrow throughout parts of Government Camp and Mount Hood, as well as the central and eastern side of the state. I'll talk more about that and talk about what you can expect to see heading into the next couple of days in just a few minutes. All right, Joe, thanks so much. New information tonight on hate and bias crimes in Oregon. A new report from the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission found the state's bias response hotline has received a surge in calls since 2021. Ashley Grams breaks down the report.
The Oregon DOJ says findings from the state's annual bias report are sobering. It shows a growing number of hate and bias incidents directed at Black, Jewish, and LGBTQ+ Oregonians.
Whoever's doing this should be ashamed of themselves.
If a person is gay, there's no reason to beat somebody with a pipe.
More people in Oregon are speaking up.
We're not scared of bullies.
Reporting bias crimes and incidents to a hotline set up about 3 years ago by the Department of Justice. And more reports are called in each year.
An increase in reporting to the hotline in 2022, a 72% increase from 2021.
Johanna Costa is the DOJ's bias response coordinator.
It's not surprising, sadly, in terms of what misconduct we're seeing around the state.
Earlier this summer, a food cart owner on Southeast 52nd and Foster was assaulted. His attorney says he was beaten while the attacker yelled racial slurs.
I think that was really messed up what he did, especially to such a nice guy.
The DOJ says reports of bias against Black Americans make up nearly 1 in 4 incidents recorded in 2022. But these reports aren't always physically violent. Some come in the form of property damage. Like this graffiti on the side of a Northwest Portland synagogue last spring.
It's an incredibly painful reminder of the history of white supremacy here in our state.
The DOJ's report says anti-Semitism is the most common type of religious bias. While Costa is glad Oregonians are more aware of their options and have increasingly reported bias crimes, she says reports don't necessarily lead to more prosecutions or convictions.
If the hotline's just seeing the tip of the iceberg, then law enforcement is just seeing a snowflake on that iceberg.
Costa says it's time for a change in focus and time to meet the needs of our community.
Bias crimes aren't new. This shift is happening far too late, and we have a lot of work to do.
This spring, the Oregon DOJ began offering new services to survivors of bias crimes, including counseling and emergency money. Ashley Graham's KGW News.
Well, let's head to Las Vegas now, where the Portland Trail Blazers are in Summer League action. Tonight, they took down San Antonio to score their first win. Orlando Sanchez is in Las Vegas after spending the day around the fans and the game. And Orlando, emotions are running high out there.
Yeah, Blair, being a Portland Trail Blazers fan is not for the faint of heart, especially this offseason. They are going through it, coming to grips with the end of an era as Damian Lillard requests a trade. So coming to Vegas and watching some Summer League, specifically Portland's potential stars of the future, is like basketball therapy.
You two look at each other, kiss.
Welcome to Vegas.
I want to see a show. That's all I want to see, you know.
The vibes immaculate. NBA Summer League in full effect.
This is the mecca of basketball. You see everybody here. Anybody who loves the basketball is here.
The future of the league on display. Some excitement at a time when Trailblazers fans are going through it.
I'm not happy.
In a rough offseason centered around Damian Lillard's trade request.
This is how I'm in mourning. So yes, we're gonna miss Dame.
Summer League is the silver lining.
The Blazers fans should not be sweating right now. Shaden Sharp, that young man special.
The marquee matchup of the day, the Blazers and Spurs. All eyes on #1 pick Victor Wembanyama, considered the league's best prospect since LeBron James. Following a disappointing debut, the 7'3" center showed out in his second game. Oohs and ahs from the thousands in attendance, each highlight bringing the crowd to life. Wembanyama put up 27 points and 12 boards, but Portland's squad answered the call. Despite an off-shooting night, Shaden Sharp found a way to make his presence known. And guard Michael DeVoe stepped up in place of the injured Scoot Henderson, who's dealing with a shoulder strain. DeVoe dropped a game-high 29 points, leading Portland to an 85-80 victory. DeVoe felt the energy in the building and took advantage of his opportunity.
Growing up as a basketball player, you imagine these type of settings, you imagine these type of places to play in with this this atmosphere like this. So I just felt great out there. The atmosphere from the crowd, the energy that was in the building tonight. You couldn't ask for more.
As far as rookie Scoot Henderson goes, he is listed as day-to-day as he deals with that strained right shoulder. So it's still up in the air whether or not he plays at Summer League again. Now some news. Portland Trailblazers have re-signed forward Jeremy Grant. According to multiple reports, it's a 5-year deal worth $160 million. Now the team will hold a press conference tomorrow for Jeremy Grant, as well as Matisse Thybulle, who also signed a new deal. And General Manager Joe Cronin will speak to the media for the first time since Damian Lillard's request. All of that going down here in Vegas, and we will have it all for you tomorrow. Blair, back to you.
All right, Orlando, thanks so much. We're looking forward to that. Well, it is a dream come true for an Oregon athlete. Jesuit High School pitcher Noble Meyer was selected in tonight's MLB draft. He was taken 10th overall by the Miami Marlins. Meyer is the top-rated high school pitcher in the country. He earned Gatorade Oregon Player of the Year honors and helped lead the Crusaders to a state championship game appearance.